Hello, and welcome to another tier list. I promise this won't be like super common on the channel. I just, whenever I get the urge to make one of these, I just think it's kind of fun to do. You know, talk about some things that I enjoy and shit on some things that I don't enjoy as much. And I thought this would be fun, so I'm going to be ranking every Treyarch zombie map in COD, and hopefully this will be fun. I don't know if I've really talked about zombies a lot on the channel. I don't know if I've even really played it that much, but zombies I actually am like really big into. Like, I'm not just a multiplayer COD kind of person. I've always enjoyed zombies, and I have a pretty generic history with it. I started with World at War when I was like 5, and it scared the shit out of me, but I still played it. I started playing BO1 too. I've played everything basically. I hated BO3 when it came out. Like, the zombies was too complex for me at the time. But recently, about 4 years ago now, like during the early stages of like COVID lockdown and shit, when I had all this time off school, I went back to BO3 and I just fell in love with it. I don't want to spoil all the rankings for that game yet, but I've had a very weird and complicated history with zombies because I used to be a super casual fan of it. Like, I only really liked the old school style of maps, like, you know, Der Reese, Kino, stuff like that. But I have grown to really enjoy like the more complex style of zombies. But I do want to get a few things clear with this tier list. I'm not like, I'd say I'm somewhere in between casual and hardcore, in the sense that I like these more complex maps, but I haven't really done a lot of Easter eggs on them. I've only done a handful of Easter eggs on maps. Like, I've done the one on Moon. I did the one under Eisendrache until the boss fight, and I got instantly wrecked because I was playing solo. And I'm not really like huge into Easter eggs, but I like watching people do them. I think it's kind of fun. I don't know if like my criteria is going to be very consistent, and I just want to make it clear that this is my tier list. I want to make that very clear. This is my opinion. It's clear, like, just purely a subjective tier list. This isn't the be-all, end-all zombies tier list or anything. This is just my personal opinion, like how I would rank all these maps. I just feel like I have to keep reiterating that because I still got some comments on my Call of Duty tier list video that were pissed off about some rankings. I saw someone say, your tier list is trash because MW2 isn't an S.
Shut your fucking mouth! No problem, John. Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
Real quick, before I even start, let me add a couple. I honestly think I could just end the video right here, not even speak another word about Vanguard zombies. I haven't even played this map, but I can already tell it's probably way better, and it probably had way more effort put into it than Duran Fong did. I'll keep it brief, because I didn't play Vanguard Zombies, I didn't even buy that game. But I'll say this, Duran Fong is like, I don't even really hate Treyarch. Like, I don't even really hate their decision of making these two maps, because they were pretty much forced to by Activision. You can really tell just by playing Duran Fong at launch that they did not want to make this, and it really shows. I mean, there's no ray gun. There's like super boring pack-a-punch, like boring locations, really stupid objectives. It just didn't really feel like zombies to me. It was so unfinished. They had some really stupid enemies that would actually shoot at you, which, by the way, that's like one of the worst things you can do in a zombies game, is make enemies that fire fucking death machines at you. Like, it's so... Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. We're just going to ignore Vanguard even exists. That's why I put it in its own category. I think everyone's going to be happy with that. So, we can move on to actual maps now. And I see there's a lot of, like... There's a lot of the remastered maps on here, which I don't know if I'm going to rank those. I probably won't, honestly, because a lot of them are the same, or, you know, they're just not really that unique. Like, some of these remastered maps I would kind of rank together, so we'll see. But we're going to start off with the OG Nacht Duran Toten from World at War. I think it's an automatic C. I don't even really have to put that much thought into it. It's just like, it's the birthplace of zombies. We would not have all the stuff we have now if it wasn't for Nacht Duran Toten, or we wouldn't have like the you know, the blueprints for what zombies would become. So I think in that regard, like, it's automatically C, you know. They didn't even expect it to be this popular, and it's become its own fucking, like, phenomenon. So I think for that reason, it just deserves C, perfectly right in the middle. Next up, we have Verkucht, which I'd almost want to put above it, but this is the WoW version. If it was the BO3 version, I'd probably put it in like B or A, but I like Verkucht. It's just super, you know how World at War is. If you go back and play it, it's super glitchy. But it did introduce the perks and electric traps. I don't think the Wonder Waff was on the WoW version. I don't even know if the PPSH was on this version, but there's some things on this map that make it like a little easier than its other versions, like the fact that there's a zombie cap. Like there's a cap on how many zombies spawn per round in World at War. I think it's like 24 zombies or something like that. That makes the map a little easier than the other ones, but at the same time, this map is so fucking glitchy. Like I said, the zombies will like, in World at War, they'll hit you and then they'll like suck you into them. Pause. So I don't know. It's kind of weird to rank, but I feel like, again, it deserves like automatic C at least because it introduced perks and traps and stuff like that. And I was gonna say it introduced the 4 main characters, but that's not true. That's the next map. And also, this is the scariest zombie map, maybe aside from Noct or Mob. Verrückt has such a great atmosphere in it, and I didn't talk about this in Noct either. Something I love about the World at War maps in general is they have this very specific ambience to them that makes them feel like you're playing a horror game more than like, it's more of like a survival horror game than anything. And Verrückt is like the epitome of that. It has like screaming ghost people or whatever in the background, which just adds to this like nightmarish, almost like hellscape vibe that it has. And it's honestly like atmospherically, this map is like S tier, but I can't just rank a map based on that, in my own personal opinion. But I think right next to Noct, I think that's a good point for it. Shi no Numa, this is a map I'm pretty biased towards because it was it introduced the 4 main characters, introduced the Wonder Waff, Hellhounds, and it was one of the first like training maps. It wasn't until Kino came out that training was like super popular, but Shi no Numa was like the first official training zombie map because of that area in the comm room, I think it was, where there's like that whole like circular training area you can get to like round 60, and then you go to the flopper area and then you train there for like until you die, basically. Great high rounds for Shi no Numa on World at War, which is why I'm really debating putting it in A tier. But I don't know if I'd really consider it A tier, even though I do love this map to death. It also, again, has a great atmosphere to it, the whole foggy swamp vibe that it has. It's like Zetsubo, but if Zetsubo was like an infant. And I just remember being so fucking terrified playing it when I was a kid, man. This is one of the first, I think this was the first DLC map for WoW that I played, so I have a lot of nostalgia for this map, and I think it's at least a B tier. I think it's a good map. Der Riese, this is easy, S tier, for one simple reason: Pack-a-Punch. And this is why I don't know if I should talk about it yet, but I think in the debate of Der Riese versus Kino der Toten, I think Der Riese beats Kino, and I'm just gonna go ahead and rank it real quick in A tier. I love Kino. Everyone loves Kino. It's the most iconic zombies map like to date. It got most people into zombies, I think, and it was like the map, like I said, that really popularized training like to the mainstream. Like that was the main strategy. There's no camping spots on Kino or anything like that. You run around with a thunder gun on the stage, and Nova Crawlers are chasing after you and shit. Like it's such an iconic map, man. Like I love Kino to death, but the reason I think Der Riese beats it is because Kino didn't really like add anything new exactly, except for the thunder gun, which is like one of my top 5 probably favorite wonder weapons of all time. It's the one I got to round 100 on for the first time, and for that reason I love Kino, but I really can't say that it does anything different than what World at War brought to the table. God, people are already pissed at me, I can already tell. But like, listen, Kino, we all love it, but I don't know. I don't feel like it's quite S tier. I just feel like it's a really, really great map that it's not quite an S tier because to me it just didn't really add anything new. But I would still like super be down to play it if one of my friends asked me to. It's always a good time. But Der Riese is just so fucking classic, man, and it's got such a simple layout and design where it's the 3 teleporters and you open up Pack-a-Punch, and dude, there's like no matched feeling I have in zombies than all the memories I've made on this map, like sitting on the catwalk with my Pack-a-Punch PPSH and fucking MG42 just mowing down hordes of zombies. The only reason I might put the World at War version down a tier is because of the Wonderwaff jug glitch, which is, for those of you who don't know, I'm pretty sure you do if you know zombies at all, but on World at War Derice, there's a really stupid fucking glitch where if you zap yourself on accident with the Wonderwaff, it'll actually like take away your jug, even though the symbol's still there on the bottom of the screen. And it's the most frustrating shit ever. Maybe it's not as bad on co-op, but man, it is like one of the most annoying glitches in zombies that exist. And yeah, that's basically it for Derice and Kino der Toten. I'm gonna move on to 5. I don't care how many people get pissed off at this. I like 5 more than Kino, personally. It actually added some new shit to it, and it's kind of funny when you think about like how Kino was originally planned to be DLC 5 for World at War, which I'm fucking glad it wasn't, because could you imagine if 5 was like the launch map for BO1? I don't think zombies would be nearly as popular now if it wasn't for Kino being the launch map for BO1. Like 5, I adore this map, but I can definitely see why people don't like it. It's like one of the hardest maps of all time, but it has such a great style to it, and it's set in the Pentagon. There's all these bright colors on the top floors, and you're playing as fucking John F. Kennedy, Robert McNamara, Richard Nixon, and Fidel Castro. Like, that's probably the best cast of zombies characters of all time, or at least one of them. The Pentagon Thief coming around chasing after you. I know people don't like the Pentagon Thief, but I personally do. I feel like he just adds this like fun, chaotic element to the map, and it makes me really sad that Classified was kind of an improvement in a lot of ways over 5, but the one thing I really hated was that they didn't fucking put the Pentagon Thief back in, even though he was in the intro cutscene. He gets fucking deleted, and then we never see him again, so that was gay. But 5 is like, the only thing I hate about 5, and I think what adds to the difficulty of it, is first of all, BO1 guns are dog shit for the most part. Like, the wall guns are terrible in BO1, so it's hard to like rack up a lot of points on the early rounds. But not only that, the traps are placed in like the dumbest possible spots that you're not going to kill zombies in, or you could, but you're just going to die instantly as soon as the trap runs out. So high rounds on this map are basically impossible. The highest round I've gotten to on 5 is like 35, maybe 40, but that's a stretch. I don't know. And also the Winter's Howl is like such a dog shit wonder weapon. It's not even worth talking about in any way. Yeah, I mean, despite those issues, I love 5 to death. I think it has such a awesome style to it, and it's so ballsy to just play as fucking all those 4 like these like politician characters. And it ties into the campaign so fucking amazingly, you know. I love 5. Honestly, an underrated map. I wasn't gonna rank Dead Ops initially, but you know what, fuck it, I'll rank him. I'll just put it in C tier. I would rather play it than Verrucht. I would rather play it than Verrucht on World at War. I think Dead Ops isn't like anything to take seriously, and you know what, I'll just go ahead and rank all of the Dead Ops games together. I'm ranking them all together because some of them do improve over others. Like, I'd rather play 2 or 3 over 1, but I still really like playing 1. Just like, you know, it's just a fun side thing to do in zombies. It's not really that deep or anything, but not really much to say about them. Next up, we have Ascension on BO1. Again, I like this more than Kino. The monkeys, I'll just get that out of the way. I don't understand all of the hate on the monkeys. Like, I get that they're a nuisance, but that's really all they are at the end of the day. They're just kind of a minor inconvenience to me, because this map is so fucking easy. You have the Thunder Gun, you have all these wide open training spots, which, by the way, there's so many training spots on this map. That's why I really like high rounds on it. It's a lot of fun to play with friends. But all you need is the Thunder Gun, Jug, Quick Revive, maybe Speed Cola, maybe Stamina. But honestly, like, if you're playing co-op, right, you can watch all of the perks with, like, you can have someone watch each perk. And if you're playing solo, all you need is Quick Revive and Jug, and you can watch both of those perks at the same time, so it's really not even an issue. It becomes annoying when you get the free perk from the monkeys and then they take it away, but other than that, like, I think Ascension, if you look past the monkeys, it's such a fun, just simple high round map, you know? Like, it's so mindless, it's so casual, and it's so easy to get to high rounds on, even if you're a terrible zombies player. And I actually think it's like a really good way to get better at zombies, because, like I said, there's all this wide open areas that you can train in, and it adds 2 of my favorite perks ever, which is Stamina Up and PhD Flopper. I just really like Ascension a lot. I didn't used to like it that much. I thought it was too easy. Then I realized it's the only map I have round 100 on, so the BO3 version, not BO1. But I really like Ascension a lot, and plus there's so many cool other things you can do on the map. Like it was the first Easter egg ever in a zombies game, and you can do the thing where you can blow up the rocket as you launch it to open up Pack-a-Punch, which I thought was really cool. I just really like Ascension. Maybe this is too high for it, maybe it's too low, I don't know. But I've always liked this map, and I remember downloading it like the night it came out and just having a gay old time on it. Next up we have Call of the Dead, which I'm gonna rank over Doris in S tier. I don't know why this map gets clowned on so much. I mean, main annoying thing for me personally is the fog moving in and the fact that there's like 3 Pack-a-Punch locations. I always hate when a map has like multiple Pack-a-Punch locations that'll just change. I feel like Drak does it better than Call of the Dead does, because you move faster in BO3 and you have Stamina Up. I mean, you have Stamina Up on Call of the Dead, but I don't know. Call of the Dead, it feels bigger in a way, I guess. And it's just, you move a lot slower on BO1 than you do on BO3 because you don't have a slide or anything like that. So it just feels more annoying to like run across the map to get to Pack-a-Punch, and then whenever the fog moves in, the lighthouse will like move around to show you where the next location is. I just don't really like that aspect of it. But unpopular opinion, I really like the addition of George Romero, rest in peace by the way, as like the main kind of boss of this map, because he'll follow you around the whole game. But if you kill him, granted he does come back, but he gives you a free perk every time you kill him with either a death machine or a scavenger, or people don't know this, but you can use the Dragonov on him as well, which does a surprising amount of damage to him. There's ways to deal with George. He's annoying, he's an asshole, but I just feel like this map wouldn't be as iconic without him, because as a kid, I started falling in love with like zombies in general, not just COD zombies, but also I learned who George Romero was, and how he was basically like the creator of the modern zombie like archetype basically, and I just thought it was so cool that they made a whole map like in tribute to him. And the cast of characters is really cool. You got Michael Rooker, you got fucking Robert Englund, you get Danny Trejo and Sarah Michelle Gellar from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like it's such a cool cast of characters, and the intro cutscene is just so fun to watch every time. I never skip it. It's got a really fun Easter egg too, where you actually can help the Ultimus or Primus crew. I don't remember which is which, but the OG4 basically. They get teleported here and they're stuck behind this like in this vault door, and you have to get them out. And I just always thought that was a really fun little Easter egg to do on this map, and I just really like this map a lot. I feel like it's my favorite Black Ops 1 map for sure, and you can fight me. I think it's better than Kino and Ascension, and 5. Shangri-La, this is a weird one. I've had a weird history with this map. I used to hate this map because I thought it was too hard, and it is like arguably one of the hardest maps. It's such a beautiful map to play on, and the challenge is, I think it's necessary to have a mix of like challenging and easy and maybe intermediate maps in zombies. And I think that's why BO1 is one of my favorite zombies games, is because of that. There's such a great mix of like difficulty in these maps, and I feel like Shangri-La is like the ultimate difficulty test. There is some annoying things about it. I'll put it in C though. I'd rather play it than all these. Pack-a-Punch solo isn't that bad, but this map is the reason why I never play with randoms online in zombies, because the way Pack-a-Punch works on this map in co-op is you have to step on each individual pedestal to open up the Pack-a-Punch, whereas on solo there's just one that's popped up and you just step on it, hold it for a minute, and then you run to Pack-a-Punch in the spawn room, and then you have Pack-a-Punch. It's easy. But on co-op, everyone has to stand on each one around the map. And if you're playing with randoms, and there's no communication going on, it is actually impossible to like Pack-a-Punch. It's gonna be round 30 before you even get it open, if you're even still alive. But I feel like what keeps this map in C tier for me is I really like the Easter egg on it, where it like turns the map all nighttime and shit. I thought that was really dope. The special zombies are annoying, but you can kind of use them like as traps almost. Like the Shrieker zombie, you can use them as like an AoE blast, kind of like a thunder gun. And the napalm zombie is basically a fire trap for the zombies, so I guess they can be used in a helpful way. And also, something I like to do on the BO1 version of Shangri-La is I'll upgrade the Mustang and Sally's, and I'll get PhD, and I'll just train around the map, and it becomes a lot easier at that point. And like I said, this map is fucking gorgeous. Like, this is by far the best looking map in all of Zombies. I don't know if that's even debatable. It just is the best looking map, even for BO1. And it adds a bit of a challenge, and I don't know, this map's grown on me a lot over the years, but I still wouldn't put it in anything above C, I don't think, and I don't think I would put it in D, because I don't think it's a bad map. I just think it's more challenging than you'd probably expect. Next up we have Moon. This is another map that's grown on me over the years. I used to hate it. I still do hate aspects about it. I actually don't know where I'd rank it. I'll put it in B. I'll put it right next to Shinonuma, because this map has the best Easter egg in all of Zombies. At least that I've done. Now, the only annoying part about the Easter egg is just the sheer amount of RNG involved in it. You have to get, like, amazing box luck, and you have to pray that excavator pie actually gets fucking excavated, which never happens when you're actually trying to do the Easter egg. But when you're playing the map normally, it just fucking, oh, yeah, sure, excavator pie. My fucking luck on this map is so dog shit. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but, like, God, it's so annoying. The astronaut's annoying. Takes away your jug if you headbutt him, or if he headbutts you, and there's no way of knowing when he's going to be around the corner, by the way. So if you run into him, you're fucked, and you have to go back to Area 51 twice to get your jug back, which is pretty much like borderline retarded design, in my opinion. Also on BO1, this map looks so dull and like dog. You know what? I'll bump it down to C, but I do like it more than Shang, because this is a crazy innovative map too. It introduced the Hacker, which is a really cool equipment in Zombies that I wish was in more maps. The only map I've seen it in other than Moon is a custom map called Leviathan, which is really fun, by the way. Really cool equipment, because you can hack things to like basically get a discount on them, so you can open doors with it for like 200 points, even though it takes like a millennium to do. You can use it on the excavators to prevent them from turning the biodome into just a floaty fucking bouncy castle, and you can get a discount on the box, which is always fun, you know. So you can get that wave gun, which, by the way, the wave gun is such a fucking awesome wonder weapon. Dual wield wonder weapons are always so badass. Dual wield weapons in general, I think. I'm a big Halo fan, so whenever I see dual wield in like a shooter game, it's always my shit. So the wave gun, zap gun, whatever you want to call it, is super cool. And this is a pretty like ballsy map to not only create but also end Black Ops 1 with. I don't know if people know this, but originally Paris Catacombs, I think, was supposed to be like the final BO1 map, but then they changed it to fucking Moon, and you get to blow up the Earth in the Easter egg, which is like, just, it's so fucking crazy, man. And it kicks off the events of Black Ops 2 Zombies. It's a pretty cool map. I just think that it's not like particularly great, or maybe it's a good map. I don't know. Maybe I'll change it, but for now, I think it's comfortably like right next in between Noct and Shang. Next up, we have Transit. I feel like this goes without saying. It's an F tier map, but I will say this. It is so fun with friends if you're not taking it seriously and you're just basking in all the chaos. Like, there's some maps in Zombies that are just bad, and not just bad, but like they're so bad they make you want to gouge your eyes out with a fucking spoon. But Transit to me isn't quite that. Maybe I'll even bump it up to D just because of how fun it is with co-op. But man, there's so many design flaws with this map. Pack-a-Punch is the biggest one for me. I think it's really dumb that I don't think I've ever pack-a-punched on this map, because the process of getting it is so annoying. You have to get a turbine. You have to go to the power station. Not only that, but getting to the power station already takes like 10 minutes, and by that point you've probably stopped at the diner to hit the box, but you probably got a fucking SMR, and before you can get enough points to hit it again, the bus is about to leave, so you have to hop on it really quick. And then once you get to the power station, you have to quickly use the turbine, and you gotta put it at the door, and then you gotta turn the power on, and then get back on the bus before it leaves. When you make a full loop back around, when you get to the town, you have to you get to the bank, which, by the way, there's no guns at the town, which is really fucking stupid. I don't know why that's a thing either. You go into the bank, and you try to open up Pack-a-Punch, and door's not open, because your turbine was either broken by zombies or just decided to stop working, and you have to go all the way back to spawn to the bus depot to get another turbine, and then you have to repeat the process until you just hopefully get Pack-a-Punch open. So not only that, but there's fog everywhere with denizens, and there's lava, and like I feel like most of you know like why this is a bad map, but it does have like some fun in it. So I don't know. Like, if you just don't take the map that seriously, it is a fun map, but I think we'd all be lying if we said, like, it was a good map. Next up, we have some of the survival maps that are branching off of Transit, which I will go ahead and rank. I think Farm is pretty garbage, honestly, because only thing you really have is 4 perks. That's pretty much it, and the box. So it's kind of fun, I guess, on co-op, like I said, but man, it is not... I don't know, playing solo, I don't know why you would play this solo. It's just not very fun at all, and it looks ugly, just like Transit. It's so fucking, like, it's like this diarrhea, green, gray fog everywhere, and it's just really ugly, and there's not really a lot to do on it. I mean, it's a survival map, there's not really much else to do besides survive, but even for a survival map, I think it's like super, I don't know, it's just not it. We got Town coming up next. I really like Town a lot. This is by far the best survival map on Black Ops 2. I think most people like played this map when BO2 was out. If you didn't have the DLC for Nuketown Zombies, you had to play fucking Transit or Farm or Bus Depot, and no one was doing any of that shit. Or maybe Grief if you had a bunch of buddies to play with. But Town was like the GOAT survival map, and it still is to this day, I think. It's just a really, really simple but fun map because it actually has Pack-a-Punch on it and the 4 perks, plus Tombstone if you hate yourself. Yeah, there's not really much to say about Town. It's just a really fun, simple, like, as simple as it gets, but Pack-a-Punch is like right in the middle of the map. You gotta open up the doors to get all the other perks. That's pretty much it. Also, you do have a Mark II on this map, which I think was added later, but I still think it's a good addition to the map. I don't know like the highest round I've gotten to it, but it's just a really, really fun map, and again, by far the best survival map, I think. I don't think anyone's really gonna debate that. I really doubt anyone's gonna debate Bus Depot or Farm. Go ahead and put Bus Depot and F right here. You know what, I'd rather play, this is kind of weird, but I would rather play Transit than Farm or Bus Depot. Bus Depot, in my opinion, is like one of the worst maps ever made because there's actually nothing on it. All you have is the box. And for that reason, I don't know, maybe if it's like Farm or Transit, like maybe you just have to not take it very seriously and just try to see how long you and your buddies can survive. But the only wonder weapon on this map is the ray gun, I believe, and maybe the Mark II. I'm not exactly sure. If the Mark II is on this map, it's like very rare because I've never gotten that shit. Man, what a just boring map. Like, I almost don't even want to put it in F because I don't even think it deserves that. It's just really boring. Nuketown, Zambies. I used to like this map. I don't hate it. I don't think it's quite F tier, but I think it could have been a lot better. I really hate maps with like random perk spawns in it. Nuketown Zombies is just like, it's fun. It's a good training map. Like if you want to work on your training skills. I do think it's fun to like try to not rely on Jug. I think that's actually like a good skill to have as a Zombies player, but it is really annoying at the same time. Like the fact that you don't know when you're gonna get it like at all. At least on a map like Shinonuma or fucking the Giant where the perk spawns are random. At least you know like that they're gonna be there eventually. But on Nuketown, you could get Jug on round 5, or you could get it on like round 35. Like it's so random, and maybe it adds a bit of replayability to it, but I don't know. I just really don't like Nuketown. The only thing I like about Nuketown is the M27, which is, by the way, this is the only map the M27 is on, which is so sad because it is amazing. It's such a good gun. When you Pack-a-Punch it, you get double tap on it. Ugh, it's so fucking good. But I don't know. I just think it's a really like I said, boring map, but also kind of annoying to play because random perk spawns are just always annoying. But at least on Shinonuma, like you get a random perk that you don't want, you just run to the other area and you'll eventually get it. Maybe by a certain round. But on Nuketown, it could be like until round 30 before you even get Jug, which is just, I don't know. I just think that's bad design, but I'm not a game designer. Die Rise. I'll put it, I'm definitely putting it in F tier, but I was debating on whether I'd rather play Transit. Actually, this is kind of fucked. I'm gonna put Farm over Die Rise. I would rather play Farm. Actually, no, fuck that. Farm's boring. Die Rise is just bad in terms of like design. I like the colors on the map. I really like this liquefier as a wonder weapon. It's kind of a shame that it hasn't been on more maps. It's a really cool wonder weapon that you can build. But I feel like the elevators and the fall damage on this map, and the fact that there's no PhD on the map is like really stupid. I hate random perk spawns. I can't keep bringing this up enough. But I think it's actually more annoying on this map than Nuketown, because the elevators are completely random, or maybe there is some sort of like pattern with them that I just haven't gotten. But the fact that you can get Who's Who before you get Jug is like insulting, and also Pack-a-Punch, by the way. Dude, Who's Who is like probably the worst perk, at least in like old zombies. I don't know about the newer games, but Who's Who is so awful. It has the best jingle, in my opinion, but it also is like the worst in terms of practicality, because it'll essentially give you a new life, but it spawns you in with just a pistol, and they expect you to take out a whole horde of zombies with a pistol. They don't even give you your guns back or anything like that. Like, it's like, what? That's just what? And also the jumping jacks. I don't know why Treyarch has such a fucking hard-on for Nova crawlers and like reskinning them. I hated them on Kino. I hate the teleporting ones on Moon. Those are so annoying. And I hate these ones on here that are like all acrobatic and jumping around and shit. I complain about fall damage. Granted, it's rare that I've died to fall damage on this map, but it's still annoying that can happen. Like, PhD should have been on this map, and the fact that they actually like teased it in an unreachable part of the map is just that is just low, man. Fucking Jimmy Zielinski, why'd you hate it so much, man? Like, come on. I hate Die Rise with a passion, but I would rather play it than Farm or Bus Depot, just because there's stuff to do, you know? Like, there's running around, and there's an actual map, and the colors do look very nice, so, you know, it's got some things working for it, but overall, I would not ever play this map again. We're getting into the good shit now. Mob of the Dead. My favorite zombies map of all time. I could gush about this and nerd out about it for like hours probably. I love the setting. I love the horror atmosphere it has. It reminds me of World at War. The round ending music was really creepy and eerie, and it really set the tone for the map. The four main characters are really badass and interesting. They're all gangsters that are trying to escape from Alcatraz Island, but every time they escape, they die, and they continue the cycle over and over again, except for the Weasel, who's my favorite of the crew, by the way. And he's one of my favorite zombies characters, like, of all time. I always get a hard on when I get him, when I'm playing as him on this game. And man, like, the Blunder Gat, when you upgrade it into the Acid Gat, and then you Pack-a-Punch the Acid Gat into the Vitrolic Withering. One of my favorite wonder weapons of all time. It's so fucking overpowered if you combine that with the 4 perks on here. We're not talking about Deadshot, because why would you ever get Deadshot on this map? You get that setup and the shield, and you're basically invincible until like round, I don't know, like I've gotten to round 40 plus on this map, I think, because I just love that setup. And usually my main gun is the Uzi. I'll just Pack-a-Punch that and just see how far I can get. Hell's Retriever is really fun to get. You feed 3 dogs around the map, and you get a fucking badass, like, retrievable tomahawk that'll actually not only come back to you, kill a bunch of zombies, but it'll also pick up power-ups for you too, which I think is really cool. And you can even upgrade it into the Hell's Redeemer. I haven't really done that a lot, but because I think the Retriever is enough, honestly. But really cool. Probably like the coolest equipment in zombies, in my opinion. And the setup process on this map is actually, like, even though it takes a little bit, it's actually fun to me. Map like Zetsubo, where the setup process is like half the Easter egg, I think is a little much. But on this map, it actually feels rewarding to go through all of like the plane parts, and then getting all the 4 perks and stuff. Like, it's actually fun setting up on this map. And the map is pretty big, but it's not as big as you like think at first glance, because every area actually has a purpose to it, and it's not just like big for the sake of being big, like Transit or Outbreak, for example. I just fucking love Mob of the Dead, man. Like, this is, to me, the essential Call of Duty Zombies map. Like, if you were to only play one Zombies map and then completely drop the mode, I would recommend you try Mob of the Dead. Like, it has the perfect... It welcomes casual players and hardcore players. You don't have to, you know, get all the extra shit in the map. all you really need to do is get all those plane parts and hit up Pack-a-Punch, and you're basically set, you know? And also, Brutus is a really fun boss that spawns in periodically. Like, he's not terribly difficult. He just comes in, he makes it a little harder. He's kind of annoying because he'll lock up some things like perks and the crafting table and whatever, but I still think he's a great boss, and I actually really enjoy, like, fighting him when he comes into the map. I think I've glazed this map enough. You get it. I fucking love Mob of the Dead to death.
Because I love it in here. I fucking love it!
It is, like, my ride or die zombies map. To me, it's, like, the perfect map. I can't really think of a single flaw with it. Moving on to Buried. I actually think this is an underrated map in my opinion. It's probably, I'll say A tier. Put it right next to Ascension. I really like Buried a lot, even though it's like a pretty easy map, but I feel like people make that mistake when they say it's like super easy, because like try getting to round 100 on Buried. It's actually kind of hard, but getting to round 30 plus is like pretty easy, I think. All you need to do is craft the subsurface resonator, head chopper, have a turbine, you know, all that stuff, and it's a pretty easy map. But other than that, like, even though it's an easy map, there's so much to do on it. You have Leroy, who will actually open up parts of the map, and you give him booze, and he'll break down parts of the map to get to. Give him candy. He'll actually keep the box in like one spot instead of having it move, which is really cool. He's a really great addition to the map. And also, I'm a big fan of like Old West themed stuff, and the round changing music is all like Western music themed, and it's all in this like underground Old West style town. It's got a great atmosphere to it. The only thing I really don't like about this map is the witch's house and the maze in the back of it to get to Pack-a-Punch. I just think the fact that the maze is random every time is kind of annoying. I'd rather just get to Pack-a-Punch. I get why they did it. They wanted to make it a little more challenging, I guess. But I don't know. It's not really fun to do that every time. It's not like and you can die, you know? Because obviously it's a maze. It's very tight and close quarters. So you can just, if you're on a high round and you got to get back to Pack-a-Punch, I don't know why you'd be doing it super late, but I don't know, maybe you just got like a paralyzer out of the box, or you got an AN-94 or something. Despite that, the witches, they're kind of annoying because they steal your money and your ammo, but they give you free perks, which is cool. So I mean, I don't hate them necessarily. I just feel like if you're not paying attention and you don't know where they're like coming from, you can get all your shit taken, and then you'll have to go all the way back and get more points. Like it's kind of annoying. But despite that, I really like this map, and it's the only map with the Victus crew. I forgot to bring up the Victus crew in Transit and Die Rise, by the way. They're like the worst crew of characters in my opinion in all of zombies. It's super annoying. Only character I like is Misty, not because she has tits, but I just think she's the most like interesting character, and she has some of the more interesting lines, I think. She's the only character that's not super annoying, in my opinion. But anyway, despite that, it's the only Victus crew map that I really, really enjoy. And I actually think it's like pretty well designed in a lot of ways. Also, the fact that you can get the LSAT on like round 1 is just fucking amazing to me. I always try to go for it, and I always die. But, you know, it's whatever. Also, I really like the chalk drawings on this map. I think that was a pretty unique, like, innovative feature that they added that I wish was in more maps, but I get why they didn't do it again. Origins. This might be where I piss some people off, because in my personal taste, I wouldn't personally put it in my S tier, but I can definitely like respect the fact that everyone would put it in S tier. I just didn't play this map like enough, as much as everyone else did, I guess. I've played it a decent amount, don't get me wrong, but I never got super into it like everyone else did. But I'll say my case on Origins. The main thing I don't like about this map is the Templar zombies that'll like come in and they'll try to take down one of the generators, which, by the way, the fact that there's multiple power sources on a map is always annoying to me. And I fucking hate it, especially when it's a map that's as big as this, and there's like 6 generators you have to look after, and the Templars come in, and if you don't have a staff by that point, it can be kind of annoying. Stamina up helps on this map a lot. And this is one of the few maps that you can actually get like more than 4 perks, which is pretty cool. But I don't know, that's the main thing that annoys me about Origins, but despite that, I really, really do like this map a lot, for most of the reasons a lot of people do. I think the 4 staffs are like just so fucking iconic. My favorite one's the fire staff. Really like the lightning staff too. It's very underrated. Wind staff is only good for like early rounds, and then ice staff is just the best. Like it's not really a debate. They're just such cool wonder weapons, you know? Like they add so much to the map, but my favorite part about it is that since this map is so complex and it involves all these like side quests and stuff to do, you don't have to do any of that shit. All you really have to do on this map is hit up Pack-a-Punch, and you're pretty much set. All that extra shit is there if you want to go for it. And I really like maps like that and Mob of the Dead that do that. It just makes the maps that much more like replayable. And this map has so much replayability to it, dude. Like the Panzer comes in, he's very challenging, but there's ways to deal with him. But on early rounds, he's like fucking terrifying. The first time you play this map, you're just gonna get wrecked by him. Like it happens every time. The Easter egg on this map, I haven't actually done it myself, but I really love watching YouTubers and stuff like live stream it and do speedruns on it. It's such a fucking cool Easter egg. It's got the best. This might arguably be the best Easter egg of all time. I personally, out of the ones I've done, Moon is my favorite one, but Origins, there's not like a ton of RNG involved in it. It's basically just doing a bunch of quests and stuff like to get to the Easter egg cutscene, which I think is really nice. And it also finally brought back the original 4 characters, but in a different timeline. So they're like their younger selves, and Richtofen isn't evil anymore. He's actually got like better intentions. He wants to save the world now instead of take it over, basically. That opening cutscene, man, it's so badass. I couldn't imagine what people were thinking like when they saw that trailer for the first time. It's such an iconic map. Like it's such a. I do think this is another essential zombies map that you have to play at some point. It's not in my top 5 favorite maps, but I really respect why people do think it would be in theirs. It's a great map. I don't think anyone's gonna deny that. It's just not my S tier. Next up, moving on to Black Ops 3, Shadows of Evil. This map has grown on me so much. I absolutely hated this map when Black Ops 3 came out. I hated the new direction that zombies was going in. I preferred maps like Call of the Dead or Der Riese, Ascension, you know, super simple maps where you just hit a Pack-a-Punch and you just try to survive as long as you can. And that is still an element to these newer maps. It's just that they have a lot more emphasis on like the side stuff in the map. I was 11 when this game came out, so granted I didn't have the foresight I have now. But man, going back, playing Shadows of Evil again and actually like enjoying it and being able to take in all the detail that was in the map, seeing all the love and soul that Treyarch poured into it. That sounds corny as hell, but like you could really tell that they truly developed this map for 3 years straight, and this is like their most passionate map. Like this is basically their baby. This is their masterpiece of a map, and it's got such a great vibe to it. I love the 30s, like the 30s city, like kind of, maybe it's based on Chicago, I'm not entirely sure. Morgue City is. But it's got like jazz music as the round changing music, which is such a fucking vibe to listen to. The 4 main characters are actually like pretty great, and they're all voiced by some really awesome actors too. The Apothicon Servant is the most overpowered shit you can ever use in a zombies game, and I fucking love it for that. You can get to high rounds, like, if you know what you're doing, you can get to high rounds on this map pretty easily with that thing. The only thing that sucks about it is that you can't upgrade it anymore. At launch, there was a glitch where you could actually Pack-a-Punch it, but you can't do it anymore for some reason. It's really stupid, but I guess they decided it was too overpowered. But even so, it's still such a fun map to try to get the high rounds on, especially if you're like me and you go for the Apothicon Sword right after you get Pack-a-Punch open, which, by the way, I used to think it was super complicated to do, but this map really isn't as complicated as people make it out to be. Because again, you don't need to do all the side stuff on it. All you really have to do is Pack-a-Punch. And all you have to do to Pack-a-Punch is you do the 4 rituals in each district, and you go to the fucking central little hub area, and then you complete the final ritual, and then Pack-a-Punch is open. Boom, that's it. Super simple. Not as complicated as people make it out to be. And I wish my dumbass 11-year-old self would have seen that, and I wish I could have appreciated this map more when it came out. But I guess it's better late than never, because this map is in my top 5 like favorite zombies maps of all time now. I love Shadows of Evil with a passion. It's almost like on par with Mob of the Dead for me, and it's even got a few similarities between that and Origins, but it's such a vibe, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, just talking about it, like, I just want to go play it right now. Also, the Margwa is a pretty fun boss fight as well. Like, he's pretty difficult. And maps like this I really like, where the early setup process, you can get into a routine that you can just, like, try to perfect, like all the beast mode runs and stuff. I have been able to get to Pack-a-Punch on round 3, like, pretty often now. Not trying to brag, but rounds 3 to 4 I usually get Pack-a-Punch open, and it's so fun to try to like beat my own personal like fast time. Not that I time myself or anything, but it's cool to just try to perfect your beast mode runs on this map, and that just adds a little more replayability to it, in my opinion. Easter egg's really cool as well. I haven't personally done it, but I remember watching a bunch of YouTubers do it when the map came out, and I guess I was able to appreciate it in that way. But like I said, I wish I was able to like truly appreciate this map when it came out, because I love this map now. It took me 5 years, but I truly do appreciate this map a lot more now. I wasn't originally going to rank the Giant because it's basically the same as Durice, just with BO3 guns, but I guess I'll put it in the same... I'll just put it right next to Durice. The only reason I'm not putting it over World at War Durice is because random perk spawns. Fucking hate them. But at least you know where they all are. It's not as annoying as like Die Rise or Nuketown, but it's still annoying. But you know, they added some new things on here. The Flytrap Easter egg's still there, I believe, and you can get a free Annihilator. Earlier there was no like real incentive aside from a trophy or achievement, but now you actually get something out of it. Still not a great reward, but it is something. Other than that, the Giant is pretty much the same as Durice. It's just, again, BO3 guns and the Wonderwaff returns, obviously, but, you know, it's a fun map. I think I actually have played it more than Durice at this point, just because it's really great for, you know, camping and leveling up and stuff, so, yeah. The Giant, it's fun. You know, what else can I say about it? Der Eisendrache. This is my second favorite map of all time. It's for a pretty simple reason, which is it combines the best elements of Mob of the Dead and Origins, but it's basically like a simplified Origins, in the sense that it's another snowy kind of vibe. It's got an amazing setting in this like Austrian castle. It's got the three dragon heads you can feed, kind of like the dogs in Mob of the Dead, which you use to get the Wrath of the Ancients, which you can then upgrade into several different elemental bows. Lightning bow, I'm a noob, so obviously I'm going to rock that every time, but I actually am a big fan of the wolf bow as well, because I really like the thunder gun, and it's basically like a similar thing. It's just to get the fuck out of my way gun, basically. It'll just blast everything out of your way. Fire bow I've only gotten like once or twice because the steps are so fucking annoying for it. I just don't even bother with it anymore, but I do really like it. And the void bow I haven't used enough to really have an opinion on it. It's cool. I prefer the lightning bow. It's super easy and it's super powerful. It'll get you to high rounds like that, basically. Panzer returns from Origins. He's a little harder now, but he doesn't make it like crazy difficult. Like I said, lightning bow, easy. I just really fuck with like the whole castle, like snowy castle vibe of this map, and the fact that it's pretty simple. And if you don't get the bows, it becomes a bit harder of a map, I gotta be honest. I did one run on this map where I didn't get a bow, and it was actually like way harder than I thought it would be. So it's a pretty, like, in terms of the BO3 maps, it's pretty simple, but that's what I like about it. It's just a more simplified Origins, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's part of why I like the map so much. And I don't know, like, Der Eisendrache, it's honestly kind of hard for me to put into words why I love it so much. I just really do. And it's another map that I wish I appreciated when the game came out. Not only all that, but the storyline for this map is really cool too. And there's even a side storyline involving the Wolf King, which is what you learn about when you're getting the Wolf Bow. And it's super tragic, but it's really interesting. And it proves to me that like Treyarch is really good at just writing, like, even if it's a one-off storyline that's not even really that important or shown that much, they do such a good job of portraying like how like a powerful story, as little as it might be. In my opinion, Black Ops 3 was like peak Treyarch. This was Treyarch at their most creative, and in terms of zombies anyway. Campaign was dog shit, but you know. Moving on to Zetsubo no Shima. I'll be honest, this is my least played BO3 map, so I don't know if my opinion's like super valid on it or anything, but I'd put it in B tier from what I've played of it. I've only played it like a handful of times. Again, this is a map I didn't really used to like that much when I first played it, but it's grown on me a little bit because the vibe reminds me of World at War. The Wonder Weapon, the KT-4 is so fucking good, and the Skull Non-Stopway is like probably the best specialist weapon in BO3, in my opinion, and zombies anyway. I'm not a huge fan of like the watering plants system in this map, but I don't think it's terrible. What I do think is terrible are the Thrashers, and God, they're so annoying. Like, they're the worst boss in BO3, in my opinion. Manglers are nothing compared to these dudes. I mean, even the Manglers aren't that annoying, but God, the Thrashers are so annoying. And I think what a lot of people forget, because this map, people did hate this map when it first came out. It's kind of had a bit of a resurgence in the community recently, but the reason why people hated this map when it first came out is because it was like super buggy when it first launched, and that was kind of what turned me off from it as well. I was like, okay, these spiders are like invisible and hitting me and shit. This is a retarded map. I'm never playing this shit again. I went back and played it like a few years ago now, and I got into it a little bit. I haven't got super deep into it, but I do think it's a like good map. But the setup process takes like, it can take an hour, man. Like, setting up on this map is literally like half the Easter egg. And everything to get in this map is pretty important. Like, you need the shield, you need Pack-a-Punch, you need, like, all these things are very useful in this map to survive. And if you don't get them, you're gonna die like so early. But that being said, like, once you get set up on this map, once you get through all that shit, it is actually like a really fun, good map to me. I don't know, man. Like, I did not used to like this map very much, but I've really grown to like it a lot more. And I was gonna put it in C tier, but it's honestly better than C, in my opinion. It's not a bad map at all, or even like average, like these maps are. I just think it's a good map. It just takes... It's a very like hardcore player kind of map, you know? Like, you have to want to go through all that shit just to have fun on it, which it's going to turn the casuals away, which, you know, that's kind of a shame, but I'm telling you, once you get into this map, it is actually some very good shit. Next BO3 map, we have Gorod Krovi. I'll put it over Buried, actually. Gorod Krovi is like, when BO3 maps were coming out, I think Gorod Krovi was the one I was like most interested in, because it, in a lot of ways, it kind of has like some of the old school World at War BO1, like the Jimmy Zielinski style of zombies maps, where super simple layout, you got 3 areas, each of them leads to Pack-a-Punch. It's pretty simple in that way. So it's basically, the reason I like this map a lot is because it's basically if you took like a World at War map and you put it in the BO3 engine. It's just a little more complicated than Darius, for example. It's basically a more complicated Darius, but it's not like super complicated. Plus you got like badass dragons and stuff, and you got the dragon shield, you got the fucking ray gun Mark III. Valkyrie drones are annoying, but the Mangler zombies are pretty fun to fight, I think. I mean, they're not particularly amazing or anything, but there's a lot of fun stuff to do on this map, like getting the dragon strike, you know, incubating the egg and stuff like that. Like, there's some fun side stuff to do on this map aside from just surviving. And also the PPSH comes back, which is like one of my favorite fucking guns in zombies. Like in World at War, on Darius, I always have so many memories of sitting on the catwalk with that gun. The fact that this game and map brings it back, that's a big plus in my book. I think it's like it's probably the most accessible BO3 map to a casual player that's like just getting into BO3 zombies. That or Der Eisendrache, like those two maps are fucking... I get if you don't want to get into Shadows of Evil, but man, Der Eisendrache and Gorod Krovi, they're like essential BO3 maps in my opinion. They're so much fun to play. It's not quite S tier for me, but I can see why people would put it there. I haven't done the Easter egg on it, so I don't really know what that's like. And the final BO3 map, Revelations. This is it's kind of disappointing, but I guess I'd rather play it than all these. The only reason it's in C tier is because it is actually, like, since the map is so easy, because you have 2 powerful ass wonder weapons, it's really fun to go for high rounds on, especially with friends. Like, this is such a great high round map. It's not a great map, in my opinion. It's got a weird flow to it. It's got a lot of really good maps in it, but itself, it's not like a great map. Getting inside the worm for getting Pack-a-Punch is pretty cool, but that's like pretty much the only unique part about it, and the spawn room. But everything else is just kind of a mishmash of everything of like previous maps, which, to be fair, we did want. And that's kind of why I'm putting it in C, and I'm not putting it lower. It's just because we did actually want this map. We wanted something like this, like right from the start of BO3. I was super excited for the map when it came out, but the fact that it was like the conclusion to BO3, it honestly just kind of felt underwhelming in that regard. In that sense, like, I don't know, it's got cool Easter egg, fun wonder weapons to use, you know, fun high rounds, but it's not really like anything special. Honestly, it's just kind of a weird Frankenstein monster of other maps smashed together, but it's not bad by any means. It's still fun to play. So finally moving on to Black Ops 4. This is probably going to be the more some of the more controversial picks, probably. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think Black Ops 4 Zombies is bad. I want to get that right out of the way. I actually think some of the maps are good, and I feel like they just would have fit better on like BO3. I think BO4 was held back a little bit by the budget cuts, and the UI is terrible. Like, it's so cluttered. BO3's HUD is so clean, and just, it's not an eyesore to look at, but BO4, there's so much crap on the screen going on, it's kind of a nightmare. But despite that, I'm putting 9 in S tier. I love 9, and it's funny because when BO4 Zombies was announced, the two maps that they announced 3, which were the launch maps. It was 9, Voyage of Despair, and Blood of the Dead. I was super excited for Blood of the Dead because I love Mob of the Dead. 9 looked okay to me. Like, from the start, I was like, oh, it's a Roman Colosseum type map. That's kind of cool. But the Titanic, that's a really dope location to have a Zombies map on. I'm excited for that one. And then it ended up being the other way around, where when the game came out and I tried all 3 of these maps at launch, I ended up enjoying 9 so much more, and Voyage of Despair just a pile of dog shit. So it's kind of funny how that happened. Despite that, 9 is it's a very simple map in terms of like the layout and design of it. It's kind of confusing at first, but it only takes like a few games to really get the hang of how it works. Basically, to get the Pack-a-Punch, you just have to kill the 4 warriors in each of the like little districts, and then you go to the underground area and boom, you got Pack-a-Punch open. That's it, pretty much. The wonder weapon on this map is honestly kind of a letdown. The Death of Orion, I think it was called. It's like good, but it's super slow at killing zombies. It's kind of like a poor man's Wonderwaff, I guess. I haven't used it in a while. I haven't played BO4 in a long time, so like 9 was just such a fucking good map, and I was able to look past a lot of the issues that I had with BO4 just because this map itself was so much fun and it was so good. And also the spawn area is a really good training spot, but it also has a bunch of fun challenges you can do to unlock stuff like max ammos and even free Pack-a-Punch weapons like the Strife. There's just a lot of replayability to this map. It's honestly like probably not a hot take to say this is the best BO4 map. I didn't really, at some point in BO4's life cycle, I kind of tuned out to the zombies. I loved 9 like right from the start. I was pleasantly surprised with this map. It was so fucking good. The Chaos storyline honestly never really clicked with me that well, but I don't mind these 4 characters as much as some people do. Like, I think they might talk a little too much. They might be a little annoying, but they're not nearly as annoying as the Victus crew. Like, let's be honest, I'd much rather play as Diego, Shaw, Bruno, and fucking Scarlet rather than Russman or Marlton or Streeling or like those guys suck. But these characters, not terrible, not amazing, but they're not bad in my opinion. I just don't think the storyline overall was that interesting. I guess I should have ranked Voyage first because technically it chronologically in the story it comes before 9, but whatever. I hate this map, by the way. This map sucks, but I would rather play it than I'd rather play it than these maps for sure. Voyage is like, it's just really like, it's got a terrible layout to it. Most of the map looks the same, like the lower levels all look the same to me. It's very confusing to navigate. Like, I still don't know the layout that much. I've played it a handful of times and I just cannot get the layout down. I have to look up where I'm going. The wonder weapon's really cool, the Kraken. I actually think it's better than the Death of Orion. So that's cool, but besides that, I think the rest of the map is pretty bad. I really like the idea of it being on the Titanic. It's just kind of a boring map. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's just so boring, and I don't want to sound like I'm just like a BO4 Zombies hater, because I truly don't think it's bad overall. I'd give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I don't know, man. Like, this map is just not good. The layout is really the main thing for me, and also like the boss zombies on this map are fucking annoying as shit. And on 9 too. I hate the Catalyst zombies in BO4. Like, they're probably the worst thing. But I do really like the Kraken Wonder Weapon a lot. I think it's really fun to use, and I have actually gotten to like a decently high round on this map because of it. So, you know, that's something, I guess. But I would definitely probably never play this map again. And speaking of maps I'll never play again, Blood of the Dead. This is probably my least favorite zombies map of all time. I hate this map so much because you had a winning formula with Mob of the Dead. All you really had to do was just bring Mob of the Dead back into BO4 and everyone would have been happy. But they took a lot of the things that made this map so great and they either ruined it or removed it completely, or they added a bunch of unnecessary shit on top of it. Like, this map is so fucking big with all the new areas and stuff. Like, the spawn area, all that is completely... You could cut that out. It would make the map a lot better. That whole run, like, through the fucking hallway down to the prison, horrible. Get it out of here. And then they also added a bunch of stupid shit, like the warden's house doesn't really have a point to it. It's just kind of there. The magma gat was cool, but it's nothing new or interesting. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just an acid gat reskin, really. The Hell's Retriever comes back, but there's not really a point to use it when Wraith Fires are they're just superior in like every way. Like, why would you go out of your way to get something if you already have something better you can just spawn in with? I just, honestly, if I had known this is what the Mob of the Dead reimagining was going to be like, I would have preferred we just not get it at all, because it was just so underwhelming. And that's why, like, this is my least favorite zombies map of all time, because you had the answers to the test and you still failed. Like, how does that even happen?
What are you, retarded? Oh, I'm sorry.
And they also added like a bunch of stupid shit, like the Pack-a-Punch being able to move and it's not on the bridge anymore, which was like one of the coolest parts about Mob of the Dead was the bridge and getting to Pack-a-Punch. It was so cool and unique, but they just completely got rid of the bridge entirely, which is like part of what made Mob of the Dead so iconic, in my opinion. Like, I have so many memories of like using the LSAT on the bridge, like just murdering Brutus a million times, and it's just not here anymore. And I find that kind of underwhelming, I guess. And because the Pack-a-Punch in this map is just so fucking stupid. It moves around, but you have to put it together by using the Spectral Shield. And to get it together using the Spectral Shield, you have to suck the souls out of every individual zombie, which takes a really long time. And it's just like, why? Like, why couldn't you just put it on the roof at least? Like, fuck, dude. It's just, there's so many, like, design choices in this map that are just awful. And the Easter egg is fucking terrible as well. The cutscene is really good at the end, though. It's very emotional, and like it actually kind of like took me by surprise. But the storyline is good, but the Easter egg's not. Because I did actually try to do it back when this game came out. God, I hate this map so much, dude. I would never play this map again. Like, it is terrible. So disappointing, man. Like, honestly, all they had to do was just remaster Mob of the Dead, and I think we would have all been happy with that. But or at least just get rid of all the extra areas, get rid of all these stupid fucking, you know, get rid of all this stupid shit in this map. It would have been a lot better. And just put the Pack-a-Punch in one spot, for fuck's sake, and don't make me have to collect souls to build it. Like, that's so stupid. Anyways, moving on to Classified. This is like the 5 reimagining. I actually think this is a really fun map. I'd probably play it over Zetsubo just because I want to just jump into it, because it's super simple. Like Blood of the Dead, it does add a few areas to it, but it doesn't do it in like an annoying way, except for maybe Groom Lake. I don't know why that's there. It should have just been a new location, honestly, but... And also the fact that you have to build the Pack-a-Punch is, again, really stupid. I don't know why they made so many stupid Pack-a-Punch decisions in this game. I haven't even mentioned the fact that like you have to put your gun into Pack-a-Punch 5 times to get its full potential. Like, that is stupid. I don't care if you're a BO4 lover, like, that is fucking dumb. This is a very fun map. It actually, the biggest improvement to me over 5 is the fact that the teleporters actually will take you to a spot that it lands on. So like, for example, if it shows you the like office icon, it'll actually take you to the office. Whereas in 5, the teleporters would take you to somewhere completely random every time. It could take you to the lower levels, it could take you back up to the higher level of the Pentagon, or it could take you to the war room. Like, it was random. But on Classified, you just have to wait a second, and it'll take you to where you want to go. The biggest problem I have with Classified, though, the reason it's not an A tier for me, is the Pentagon Thief isn't back. Like I said, he added this, like, really fun challenge to 5. Like, he's hella fun to chase around, even though he's a little bitch that steals your guns. He added something to 5. He made it fun, in a way. I just feel like 5 wouldn't be as good of a map without the Pentagon Thief. Classified, still a great time. It's honestly just a fun BO4 map to hop into and just chill, you know, kick back with the boys, smoke a doobie, you know, but I don't know. I would honestly rather play 5 overall, but I can see why people would like Classified over 5. Next up, we have a map that I did not play a lot, but I played it enough to have somewhat of an opinion on it. It's Dead of the Night. This map kind of just like shadow dropped. Like, they didn't release any trailers or anything for it, or any promotion, really. Which is really weird, because every other BO4 map had that in like a week in advance at least, but this map had nothing. It just kind of came out, and no one really knew about it. I want to put it in D tier. It's not quite F, because I actually do like a lot about this map. I just feel like it's just not for me. I'd rather play it over Nuketown simply because it tries a lot of new things. The setting is so cool. It's like this monster mansion that reminds me of like Clue. It's got like werewolves, vampires, and shit like that. It's got the Alistair's Foley, or Alistair's Annihilator, which is a really fun wonder weapon to use, by the way. You have to go out of your way to craft like silver bullets to kill the werewolves, which is kind of annoying. Like, there's a lot to this map. There's a ton to do. That's kind of underwhelming, or overwhelming, and that's kind of why I'm not putting it any higher than D. It's simply because, like, it's a super hardcore map. Like, you cannot get into this map unless you're just really into doing every possible part of a map, in my opinion. And also, the main characters are pretty terrible. They're all really annoying, and they have stupid dialogue, and they talk too much, in my opinion. They're just not that interesting either. Man, I love like the color schemes of this map and the setting. The fact that it's all contrasted, like it's all bright on the inside of the mansion, but then you go out to like the woods area and it's all dark and gray and stuff. And the design of this map is so unique and cool, and I just want to give it credit for that. I'd be lying if I said I had fun playing this map, because for me personally, it's not that fun to play. I can definitely see why hardcore dudes really love this map. Like I said, it is very unique, so I have to give it points for that. I always look for maps that are like somewhat unique, and they try new things. So yeah, I think Dead of the Night, it doesn't quite deserve F. I just don't like it that much. But I would rather play it than Nuketown. So Ancient Evil, I feel so bad, because I think this is around the time I stopped playing BO4 Zombies for a while. And I've heard that this map is, like, arguably the best in BO4. And I've played it a couple times. I really like... I'll just put it in A tier, because I did really like what I played. But it's basically, like, it takes a bunch of ancient Greek mythology, which is really cool for a zombie map. It's got a lot of symbolism with it, and I'm pretty sure it wrapped up the Chaos storyline. I think they had more plans with it, but I guess it wasn't really received that well, so they kind of just threw it to the side, which is kind of a shame. I can't really say a lot about it, because like I said, I haven't played it a lot, but from what I did play, it was a very cool looking map, probably some of the most unique design, and you can tell Treyarch actually put some love into this one, and 9. Like, I've heard that these two are like the best in BO4. I know for a fact 9 is, but Ancient Evil, I feel so bad for not playing it enough, because I feel like I'm kind of cheating here, but putting it in A. I do think it deserves to be like pretty high up, at least B. You know, like it was a cool map. Alpha Omega, I'll put it in F, because Alpha Omega is taking Nuketown, which is already not like a fantastic map, and it's just adding a bunch of stupid shit to it. But again, this is another example of Blood of the Dead, where it's like you had the answers to the test and you still failed, and you're recycling the most recycled map of all time in Black Ops. Nuketown is like we all like Nuketown in multiplayer. I don't think anyone has a problem with it. It's just, it's kind of overdone, you know? And putting it in Zombies, which is already, by the way, this is from Blackout. They just took the Blackout part of Nuketown and just put it into Zombies mode. It's super lazy. Like, that's my main complaint with this map. It's just, like, the most lazy fucking map of all time. From the location of the map to the fact that the wonder weapon on this map is just elemental ray gun Mark IIs. Like, that's so boring. Oh, and hellhounds too, and overcrawlers. All the most recycled ideas just kind of thrown into one thing. That's a fucking boring map. Like, it doesn't do anything. It does not do a single goddamn thing. But the only reason I'd rather play it than these 3 maps right here is because I can see why you might have fun with it. You know what, I'll even put it over Die Rise, honestly. Just because of that. Like, you can have fun on this map, but on the whole, I played it like a couple times and I never touched this map again. At least these 2 maps have the excuse of, like, they're survival maps and they're supposed to be bare bones. Alpha Omega is like, you know what, I don't know, man. It's hard to rank this one. I guess I'll put it right next to Blood of the Dead. I would honestly prefer never playing it again, but if I had to, and it pains me to say this, but I would rather play it than Blood of the Dead. But man, it is a boring map. Togder Toten's also a pretty boring map, but I don't think it's quite F tier. Like, I don't think it's a bad map. I just think it's like, it's not terrible, but it's not a good map either, in my opinion. It's a bad sign for a map or a game when you play it and then you're like, well, I'd rather go play the other thing that it's based on. And also, by the way, this is the map that wrapped up the Ether storyline that we've been spending like over a decade focused on at this point. And the ending, I personally enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was a good ending. Man, this map itself was not great. It's just an inferior Call of the Dead. Every time I think of this map, it just makes me want to play Call of the Dead more. There's no George. There's no, like, unique set of characters. You're playing as the fucking Victus crew, which is the worst crew, like, of all time in zombies, like I've said. That takes it down a bit. The wonder weapon is really boring. It's just a thunder gun, but reskinned as a frozen thunder gun, so it's the Tundra gun, and you have the reskinned Wonderwaff with a scope on it. It's called something else I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce. I just don't get why you would play this map. Like, I guess I could see you playing it over Voyage of Despair, Blood of the Dead, or Alpha Omega, but it is not, like, it just doesn't do anything cool, in my opinion. It does look very beautiful, though, I will say. Like, it looks better than Call of the Dead. I would just rather play Call of the Dead. It just does way better things, honestly. Cold War time. D Machine is gonna put it in B tier. I like D Machine, but I feel like I like the mechanics of it on, like, this Noct reimagining more than I actually like the map. Map itself isn't bad or anything. I actually like how it doesn't feel like you're playing on Noct most of the time, even though it's like a core component of the map. It doesn't feel like just a mere Noct remaster or reimagining. There's more to it, like, underneath it and around it, which I think is kind of nice. The D Shockwave is cool, but what I really appreciated about Cold War when it first came out was the fact that the ray gun was actually really good for once, which took everyone by surprise, and then they nerfed it, which I want to go on a quick tangent about that, by the way. What is the fucking point of nerfing weapons in zombies or, like, any PvE mode? The point of zombies is to survive as long as you can. So why nerf weapons? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. This map was really good for, like, grinding camos. It was really good for high rounds, I guess. Like I said, this map itself, it's not amazing on its own, but the fact that it brought so many people in the community back, and the fact that Cold War's mechanics actually played really well on it, I think is going to put it in B tier. Cold War, like, honestly was kind of underwhelming. We only had so many maps, and the maps we did get, although some of them were good, they were just kind of lackluster, honestly. I feel like they could have done more, but it really does, like, you can tell that they developed this game really quickly, because a lot of these maps are not very original. Firebase Z, for example. I really liked it when it first came out. I actually liked it more than D Machine at one point. But then they started nerfing a bunch of things, like the Ray K, which is a really cool wonder weapon, by the way, but it's, I don't know. They nerfed it, and it's not as good. And they also buffed the Ordo boss fight, which, by the way, the fact that there's defense rounds on this map kind of takes it down for me. I just really don't like Firebase Z as much anymore. I do think it deserves a spot, like, right in the middle. But it's not great, in my opinion. Like, it's not even good. I just think it's average because of all the shit they've done to it since it came out. And even when it came out, looking back, I don't think it was a particularly amazing map. It's just okay, in my opinion. Like, it's not bad. It's not great. It's good for camos like D Machine, especially for, like, the elite camos you have to do. Firebase Z is just meh. Mauer Toten. This is another map I didn't play a ton. And it's another thing that's kind of like the level design is kind of recycled from campaign. But I'm going to put it right next to D Machine because I really like the Cerberus Wonder Weapon a lot. And I think it's really fun for high rounds. And I think the Disciple boss right there is pretty cool. Other than that, not really much else to say about it. I really like starting up the map because it plays the old World at War like round change music, which is really cool. It feels like, it kind of does feel like a World at War map because it's set in Berlin and everything. Pretty good, I think. It's definitely like probably the best Cold War zombie map, but the reason I'm not putting it above D Machine is just because by this point I had kind of checked out of Cold War zombies and I wasn't. You know what? I'll put it over D Machine. And lastly, we have Forsaken. This is a very forgettable map that, again, it doesn't really do anything. It's another recycled thing from like campaign too, which is. I really hate that about Cold War zombies. Like, they had so much potential. The gameplay, I don't care what anyone says. Like, I've seen people complaining about the new direction zombies is taking, especially with BO6, like Liberty Balls or whatever. I honestly think Cold War Zombies was still fun. Sure, it doesn't have the aura that old Zombies maps had. Fuck it, dude. Like, there were still fun maps, and it was still fun to play. Forsaken can be fun to play, but it's super forgettable. Like, I don't remember much about this map, except for like teleporters and Burger Town, and that's pretty much it. Like, it does not do that much interesting at all. So, you know what? For that point, I'm gonna bump Dead of the Night to C tier because even though I don't love it, I do really respect it a lot just because of how unique it is and it actually tried new things. These maps don't try anything new, and Forsaken is like probably the most forgettable zombies map ever. And for being the end to Cold War Zombies, like, this is what's supposed to hold us over until BO6 Zombies, which is around the corner, but I don't know, man. This was honestly kind of a disappointing way to leave it off. Way more disappointing than Revelations, but I feel like it would have benefited from, like, I'm trying to think of something really good about it. The Wonder Weapon's cool. It's basically like a half melee weapon, half gun. Like, it's kind of weird, but I actually kind of liked it. That was pretty much it. That's the only thing I remember about this map. It is by far the most forgettable map. Maybe it's good for high rounds, but I'm not sure. I, again, only played it like a few times, and I never touched it again. And I think that's about it. Yeah. This is my tier list, and let me know if you agree or disagree. Let me know what your favorite maps are, and yeah, please don't hate me for this. This is my personal opinion. It's not the objective zombies tier list. This is just my personal rank, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.